Hey guys, Drew Short with Rockin' H Woodshop. I'm sorry it's been a while. My time has been a little monopolized this week and past week. But I am going to show you guys this week my favorite shop tool that I've ever made in the shop. And that is a dead blow mallet. As you can tell, it sounds like a baby rattle. That's because this thing is packed with steel shot on both sides of the hammer. So it's a wonderful tool to have. I will show you how to make it from start to finish. Now I've made 3 of them, as you can see. Stay tuned at the very end of the video and I'll tell you why. That's coming up. Well, first things first, we got to get some wood to mill up to the appropriate dimensions to make these hammers. Now the core of the hammer head is going to be an 8/4 thick stock of oak. And I happen to have a piece right here that was left over from a pipe organ console build that I did many years ago. The handle is going to be comprised of 3 pieces of wood, of course, and the 2 outside pieces are also oak. And I happen to have one right here that'll work perfectly. Now the pieces that are going to be sandwiched inside the handle are going to just be a 1/4 inch thick. So we're gonna have to resaw a couple of these in half. We're gonna run it through, flip it over, and then run it through again, and then we'll have 2 halves. And then we'll run it through the sander and it'll clean up any burn marks or any problems from the blade that we got while we ran it through. All right, now we've cut the handles to length at 14 inches. Now this is a rough cut. They'll be cut to a final dimension later, because what we're going to do now is glue up each handle with a strip of walnut right inside the middle. And it's oversized, so it'll be able to be trimmed later on the table saw and the router. Now, we'll just let those cure overnight. We're gonna take these out of the clamps and get to shaping them. All right, all we're gonna do with these is just run them through the table saw, taking off the slightest bit to make the walnut flush with the side of the oak. Now we're just gonna run it through the saw blade here and get it to its final dimension, which is 1 3/4 inches wide. What we're going to do is kind of shape the very top of the hammer, the handle itself, to accept the 2 heads that are going to be adjacent to it. And we're going to cut with the spline running perpendicular to the blade. Okay, now if you look at my original that I've been using on my show, this is my spline. It runs down the length of the handle. And right here is a wedge. And that wedge runs perpendicular to that spline. And I've made a mark, and I tried my best by line of sight to line it up with my blade. But it really doesn't matter if you get it off just a little bit, because what you're gonna do is run it through once, then bring it back, turn it around, and then run it through again to center the cutout for the spline or the wedge. Right now I'm just going to go ahead and cut the splines to the appropriate dimensions using my tenon jig. To shape the actual curvature of the handle, and if you notice on my original here, I've cut out a section here as well as here and then shaped it with the sander and just rounded over everything to make it a nice handle for my hand. Right, there you go, pieces are in place and my pencil marks are visible now. And you don't have to put this bottom piece on, but if you don't want to risk these corners right here dropping into something on your table or off your table, to cause your cut to be off, then I suggest putting this piece on too. Just to the sander for a little bit of shaping. Now is go ahead and cut the stock for the actual heads. You can see my hollow chisel mortiser is now in place because my drill press is so ghetto it won't even drill through oak. Now I got the big boy out and we're gonna hog out some material. Now, the clean out of this hole doesn't have to be very pretty because it's going to be covered up. All it's supposed to do is just hold that steel shot. So as you can see on the sides, I got pretty close, but like I said, 2 pieces of 1/2-inch walnut are gonna be on either side, so it'll reinforce that. You just don't wanna get super close to the top and bottom. All right, now it's time to put the steel shot in. So we're gonna fill these up to about 3/4 of the way. You don't wanna fill it up all the way because you need room for this stuff to move whenever you hammer something so it can deaden the blow. All right, now it's time to cut the walnut slabs that are gonna go on either side of the hammer. Before we attach these faces to the hammers and have them glued up and sanded down, we need to route a chamfer on one edge, just on one side of the face as well, because once we glue this up, we won't be able to run it over the router because the handle is going to be in the way. So we're just going to run one edge on one face real quick. And we'll let that cure overnight. All right, time to take them out. Isn't the magic of television wonderful? I've even changed shirts. Now I've taken the wedges that I cut earlier, if you can kind of see, and made a little wedge at the very end of it. And we're just gonna insert that right in the very slot up there at the top. The finish we're going to be using is a tung oil and poly blend. It's going to make the walnut and oak pop against each other. It's a gorgeous finish. Now it's time to put the leather in place. I've cut some pieces that are just the right size for the hammerhead itself. I've put contact cement on both the hammerhead and the leather pieces, and we're going to let those dry to where they become tacky, and then put them in place, and then using a roller to ensure good contact all the way around the leather. And now we're just going to use a clamp to hold everything in place. Well guys, that pretty much wraps up how to make your own dead blow mallet for your shop. Now, when my table saw cabinet debuted about a month ago, there have been 3 individuals that have really shown some kindness in getting my channel out there to all of their shared viewers. And that was Jay Bates, John Hayes, and of course, Steve Ramsey. And as a favor and a thank you, I'm going to be sending each of them their own Rockin' H dead blow mallet. So guys, I hope you enjoy these things as much as I do. I use mine on a daily basis when I'm out in the shop, and they work great. So until next week guys, be safe in your shops. I will talk to you next week. La cucaracha, la cucumucha.